Are you looking for comprehensive solutions for your performance and automotive needs? Straightline Performance and Automotive is a full-service auto repair shop specializing in race car fabrication, electrical design, chassis setup and alignment. Located in Hamden, Connecticut, they also specialize in aftermarket high performance and chassis upgrades. Be sure to look them up on Facebook at www.facebook.com/straightline, STR8LINE, Performance, ampersand Automotive, or give them a call at 203-415-5316. Welcome, racers and fans, to your weekly dose of all things sportsman drag racing. This is Racers News Network Live, presented to you by Straightline Performance and Automotive. Your hosts, Chris and Pete, bring you the latest news and interviews in the world of sportsman drag racing, including bracket racing, association races, outlaw, and no-time events. They are live every Monday night, right here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take it away, boys.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Racers News Network Live. We are very happy to have joining us tonight, Division I owned Super Street Racer, Mid-Atlantic .90 Association competitor. Of course, I'm talking about Carly Wolf. Carly wrote a really cool paragraph basically on her Instagram page a while back, and it caught my attention. And it has a lot to do with keeping the kids interested in racing and bringing in a new blood. And one of the things that we've talked about, we're only one of the guests can have hair. Really? We're starting already?
4 minutes in.
4 minutes in and the BS is already going. Oh,
I'm shot is here to stay.
There you go. Now I forgot where it was. Oh, okay. Thanks a lot, Aaron. You suck. That's one of the things that we've talked a lot about. To a certain extent, there's a lot of love for the junior dragster program. To a certain extent, there's not a lot of love for the junior dragster program. But obviously, as the kids are older, they have the junior street program and so much more out there compared to when Pete and I were growing up around drag racing. He's a little bit younger than me. I mean, there wasn't any of this stuff for us to get involved in. We all had to wait till we got our licenses or turned 18, essentially. But we're going to be talking with Carly in just a moment about that. Pete's got a couple things we're going to try and hit on tonight. And of course, I got to say hi. How are you, buddy? My fellow bald buddy.
How are you, my man?
Good, good. How's things?
We're plugging away.
Plugging away.
Had the day off today, no school, but I went to my shop and worked harder than when I go to school. So we're good.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Carly, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I didn't know that you were a teacher.
Yeah. So this is my third year on my own. So I taught fourth grade for my first 2 years in Camden in the public city school district. And then they closed my school at the end of last year. So I applied for a new job and I got an offer a lot closer to home, 7 minutes from my house. So only downfall was moving from fourth grade to second. And I had never been that low before, like with kids that young. So this is my first time working with second graders. And I have to say, they're very funny. I get a lot of stories, but I'm liking second grade now that I've been in it a lot longer. But yeah,
Cool,
so this
cool.
is year 3.
Nice. And well, of course, we have Pete over there. He works with high school kids, so he's got it pretty easy. Of course, he does have to look up at most of them. but that's okay.
Are you really gonna start talking about jokes, Gimpy? I mean, really,
I may be gimpy, but I'm a hell of a lot taller than you are.
this is true. Even hunched over, you're still taller than me. So I need to, before we get the program rolling, in front of the millions and millions of viewers that we have, I need to publicly apologize to Carly.
Uh-oh,
What did I do?
what did you do?
Let's see if she knows why I'm gonna apologize to her. Any guess?
PRI?
Yeah, you got it.
My hair was also
That's
a different
right.
color then.
That's
am
right. I
walking-
remember.
I am walking through PRI completely oblivious. And all of a sudden I hear Pete, hey Pete, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, you don't recognize me, do you? And I did that, casual, you try and be casual, but you're not even remotely casual, looking down at the name tag. And I'm like, oh my God, Carly, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I'm an idiot. So in front of everyone, I'd like to publicly apologize to you.
That's all good. PRI is overwhelming. So it's like you like see so many people and they're out of your element. So like I
Right.
remember like I was looking at Scott Embley. I raced with Scott Embley for an entire year. I know what Scott Embley looks like the back of my hand, and I'm just staring at him like, is that Scott?
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
he's not in a t-shirt. Is that Scott? Like I'm just like looking at him. It was.
I get so confused from like where I remember. First of all, I don't remember anyone because my memory is horrific. But do I know them from my shop? Do I know them from school, the racetrack? Which racetrack? It's like, it's a disaster. So my wife usually keeps me in line, but she's not a PRI with me. So
Well, it's okay. I didn't have my helmet, so
yeah,
I'm a fire
exactly.
jacket. I didn't have any of that stuff.
That's the excuse I'm going with.
I got your back.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Funny.
So, all right. Like I said, I saw that post on Instagram a couple months ago. What made you write that? I guess is where we can start with it.
So sometimes things just come to my head and I was just thinking, I'm like, we kind of really have a miss here because like you were saying with the juniors, everybody talks so much about junior kids. And I think the junior program is fantastic. I think it gives them an opportunity to develop those skills that they will need to be a successful racer, even in school as well. Because like if you do the junior program right, those kids are involved. They're learning how to tune the car. That's how it should be. I feel if you're doing the junior program right, they're really learning that engineering aspect. But not every kid had that opportunity. So I think sometimes we just look at the kids that come into the sport and we're like, oh, hey, you're cute. Take a picture with my race car. And we use that as content or we use that to further our brand, but we're not really engaging the kid with all the aspects of racing that they could go into and really helping them in school. Because I know racing helped me in school a lot and I didn't have that opportunity with the junior program. So it's just trying to reach out and connect to the people saying, hey, it's more than just taking a picture with a car. It's trying to show them the math and science that's involved in getting these cars down the track. If that makes sense.
Very cool.
Cool. And like I said, I mean, this is actually, in all honesty, this is something that we've talked about over the last year and couple of weeks since we came back with the show, about bringing in the next generation of kids. I mean, my son's 18. He got offered a chance, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago to try a junior. He had no interest in it, but he had the chance brought to him to say, hey, want to give it a whirl, see what you think of it. Do you use your racing program with your kids? I mean, I know it's tough with second graders. I mean, you're talking basically 6 or 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
Is even when you were with the fourth graders, it's still 9, 10 years old. It's kind of close to where they might reach out and, grab a hold of it and say, this is kind of cool. Was that something you've been able to do?
Yeah, I know with my student teaching, on my racing page back in 2019, when I was doing my student teaching in Pemberton, it was cool because I was in an inclusion room. So I had kids that were special ed and I had kids that were like how you would classify as like normal general education kids, the average kid. And then I also had kids that were gifted and talented. And I came up with this little experiment where I got like 3 different cars that were like Hot Wheels cars. And the things that they came up with, like they timed them, they pushed them, like it was kind of like a drag race, but they were doing the work. And the stuff they came up with at 9 and 10 years old, like the force of everybody pushes at a different rate, everybody pushes with a different force. The floor could have different dirt on it. So like the things that they came up with that could show these factors was really impressive at 9 and 10 years old. And I'm like, great, I'm moving down to second grade. I got 7-year-olds who, these are pandemic kids. They were in kindergarten when the pandemic hit. So they didn't even get a full year of traditional school. I'm like, great, like, what am I gonna do here? And I really have to say, like, they've come to the table in second grade, and a lot of our curriculums now and our programs are interdisciplinary. So like we did a whole reading lesson for a week on gravity and force. And I'm like, you guys, like we're getting into this. Like we tied a little mini racing lesson into it for our week of reading wonders. And like they were so engaged, they were getting it. And I'm like, it's really cool. And now that I have this new principal, his son's going to Drexel for engineering. So he's kind of involved with it. So it's like, maybe we can bring the car to school and we can let them see how things are different from your normal passenger car to a drag car, whether it be my dragster or the door car. We'll see. Hopefully the drags will be going by then. But it's just really neat to see how these kids can adapt no matter what the age is. Sometimes you just have to be a little bit more hands-on, but you try to do stuff with them that they can understand so they can use it down the road.
Well, now, Pete, let's compare what she's doing with second grade and fourth grade to what you're doing with junior high, high school kids.
Well, it's kind of not too good of a comparison, only being because there's a world of difference between academics and actual shop. It's easy to be a fun teacher when you're in shop, right? Because kids are like in the school that I teach in, all the Connecticut state schools, they'll spend an average of 10 days in academics. Then the cycle will change, excuse me, and then they'll do 10 days in shop. So the kids are like doing anything that they can to get out of academics, and they're happy to be in shop. The teachers in academics that can make it fun and get the kids to learn, in my opinion, have a way tougher job than I do. But one of the benefits in a lot more ways than one is I have my car up at school. And I was teaching my juniors about front end alignments and, you know, the difference with caster, camber, and toe. And because the whole nose comes off the front of my car, right, I could put my car right in the middle of the floor and I could tell them, you know, like, see the angle of the strut, how it's tipped back, that's caster. And see if you stand in front, how the wheels are straight up and down, that's camber. And if it's out, the top of the tire is out, it's positive camber. If it's in, it's a negative camber. And I could even roll the car on the alignment rack and set it all up and show them all the differences. And, you know, a race car, they want this degrees, but in a regular car, they want this because it goes around corners and stuff. And it's just, I have to believe that my job is a hell of a lot easier than Carly's, just because, you know, the kids want to be there as opposed to have to be there.
Right. So you kind of answered one of my other questions, Carly. Did you have plans to bring one or both of your race cars to school?
Well, that's the fortunate thing. In my new district, it's 7 minutes from my house. So it's totally possible. It's actually on the way home from our storage unit where we keep the race cars. So we have to drive by it to get home. So the dragster's made a lot of progress. I have the big stuff for it. And I would love to bring that car to the school just because the kids can see the difference a little bit more from an average passenger car to a real race car. 'Cause it's like sometimes I look at my Mustang like, okay, it just has no interior. But like with the dragster, you can see the size difference in the tires alone. So I would love for them to be the first people to see the car. So we're working on it. I have all the big things. It's just trying to finish the car for me now. So hopefully they'll be the first lucky kids to see the car.
Yeah, because with your Mustang, they'll look at it and go, okay, that looks like, mom or dad's car that they're going to take me to school or pick me up from school, and until you hit that magic button,
Yeah.
and
And really, my
rumbles to life.
Mustang looks like a street car. That was the whole thing that like we tried to keep about it. We tried to keep the street car. It's 10 and a half tire. So really tried to keep that street car look with it. Sometimes it's frustrating, but because you have no tire.
Right. Now, you didn't come out of the junior dragster program, is that correct?
Correct. I ran high school challenge at ACO instead, which is now gone, but I did that because I didn't have a junior. I didn't even know juniors existed. I'm pretty sure my parents tried to keep that secret from me, but I was also dancing like 6 days a week. So
Right. Now, obviously, how far from Englishtown are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Englishtown's about an hour. ACO's 30 minutes.
All right. So you basically grew up at the home where the junior dragster program was founded,
I knew nothing about it.
and you knew nothing about it. And hey, that's not a bad thing. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, especially now that you're running the .90 series, you're running, Division One and wherever else you decide to branch out to, you see a lot more of the junior program. Do you see how that program could be tied in and really grab a hold of those second and fourth grade kids?
I think the hardest thing, because I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, yeah, like you guys are able to race a car. Like technically you guys could. But I think sometimes they just think it's so far out of reach because financially it is very expensive. I mean, we're 10 minutes from Hainsport. Like across the street from my elementary school is the high school where I went to, and that's where Hainsport kids go, and that's where Crawls Racing is. So we're 10 minutes from Crawls Racing, which is the huge junior dragster hub. And I just think a lot of it's a big buy-in, and these kids, their parents, they come out, they see these cars going 84 miles an hour, and they see these big staggered trailers, they see these mobile homes. They're like, we can't compete with that. Because I know that's how it was when we pulled in the high school challenge. It's like you're looking at the people with the mobile homes and the 28-foot enclosed trailer, the 1150 race car, and high school challenge. And my dad and I are like sharing a bottle of water. We showed up with one bottle of water for the day. We had to make it last. But I think that's a lot of the issue. It's just like you look at it and they just feel it's out of reach and it's unrelatable to them. Because like I'm sure deep down they'd love to try it, but the opportunity is not there for them.
You may know. What do you think what's the buy-in on a junior these days?
Depending on how old you are, obviously, because the older you get, the faster you're allowed to go. But I really think $5,000 to 7,500 will get you a fairly competitive car for a younger age. It's like anything else. You could have a street car like yourself competing in Super Street, and you could have someone with a full-blown chromoly tube chassis car that goes 160 in Super Street. It's the big thing is not to get intimidated by.
Yeah.
I mean, I raced Super Street when I was only going 120, then 130, then 140, and I don't know that I've had any more success or any more enjoyment going faster than I did when I was racing before. So you could get into it. It's just not getting caught up in all the hype. I do things, I progress with my program because I want to and I could afford to, not because I feel as though if I don't, so and so is going to beat me. That's not why I do it. So as long as like you said, Carly, when you walk in and you see the stackers and the 28-foot trailers, as long as you're not intimidated by that, you could be successful rolling in with your junior in the back of a pickup and letting it fly.
And that's the thing. I feel like if you're a second generation racer, if you have a parent with race experience, that's one thing to keep the intimidation factor from. But like when you have a kid who's like second grade, like let's say one of my kiddos went and they got into it, their parents took them to the racetrack for the first time and they saw that, they'd be like, there's no way we can compete with that because they have no background on it. Where I was at least fortunate enough to have my parents where they didn't really bracket race. I think my dad did 2 bracket races his entire life before I got into it. But he knew what was involved in racing. So he knew how to like steer me in that direction where if you're coming a kid who has no experience, parents have no experience whatsoever, it's how can you keep up with that? Which it's just crazy when you think a little junior dragster, they have these $300,000 mobile
Right.
homes. Like that's more money than a lot of people's homes, like their real homes. So
Yeah, I mean, the motor home that I'm in now, which is, we got it last year and it's a 2011. But I bought it 10 years old and I was within $10,000 of what I paid for my very first house. I mean,
yeah.
but it wasn't my first motor home. We started with a $20,000 motor home and fortunately, things have been good and we just progressed. Not because we felt as though we had to, it's just because we work hard and it's what we wanted to do. So.
Right, and you're also rolling in with you, your wife, 2, 3, maybe 4 kids too. So you
Yeah, I
need
mean, there was a time when we were coming with 5 kids every weekend. It's since diminished considerably, and I miss the kids, but I can't lie. Sometimes it's kind of nice to, go there with just me and my wife. But yeah, I mean, it's, we also use it for other things too. We go camping. We'll take it on vacations. There was a time where we got the motorhome because we couldn't afford to put all 5 kids on an airplane. So we would load them up in the motorhome and take them camping. And to them, it was like Disney World. They didn't know, at that age, they didn't know any different. They were all together having fun on a playground. That's all they cared about. And it was how we could afford to do it at the time. So.
Jared Artist brings up a good point. I do see a lot of the junior families helping other families. The racing family runs deep and everyone wants to see the kids do well and be safe. That's one of the coolest things about the junior program too. And to kind of give everybody an idea of why we're kind of harping a little bit on the junior program is we're going to be doing interview with 5 or 6 junior kids at Lebanon Valley Saturday night of the divisional. And again, this is one of the lead-in programs now to bring kids in. Again, like I already said once, this stuff wasn't around when Pete and I were 16 years old and just got our license. We had to hope and pray our street cars would get from the house to the track and back and, whatnot.
Right. And actually, the 2 things. First of all, another reason besides the show that we're doing is Rob Keister is introducing juniors into his .90 program. It's some select races. I don't think it's all of them, correct?
I think it's like all but like 1.
Oh, okay. So for the most part,
it's the majority of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as Jared's comment, yes, I'm sure that juniors families help out other junior families considerably, but I got to tell you, from what I've seen, that's all of drag racing. I've had people come up to me and help me when I was broken that I flat out didn't know. I mean, legitimately didn't know. Last week, we had the Frick, Iacona, Nobile clan on, and I had made a comment about how Sean, who I've always known him to, walk by and, hey, Sean, how you doing? But we never had Christmas dinner together or anything. And I made a comment about how I was struggling with my carburetor, and he took me in his trailer and he let me borrow stuff, and he's drawing diagrams on his whiteboard of how things work. And I mean, that's just the drag racing community. And in my opinion, when kids are subjected to it at an early age, it's just going to make the foundation for drag racing in general that much stronger.
There's a lot of value in it for sure. I mean, not just keeping them on track as racers, developing their program down the road, but keeping them. It's not like any other sport. Like, yeah, it's cutthroat, but you're still gonna go out and help other people. Like, I know dance competitions, it was cutthroat. You're like backstage praying somebody's gonna fall out of a turn
Right.
so you can win nationals. Like, I mean, like I remember that stuff when I was dancing. It was cutthroat. I mean, you work all year for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but like when you're racing, there's always next weekend. So if it
Yep.
comes down to you spending 20 minutes of your time helping somebody else and it teaches a lesson to your kid, if it's a competitor, it's a good moral lesson.
Right.
I remember posing this question to Jason Lawrence a few years ago. Do you, especially Pete, you're probably more so you as a parent can answer this. Obviously, Carly, yeah, I know you have input on it too. Do you see a difference in how kids that are at the racetrack behave compared to kids doing other sports or not doing sports at all?
I will tell you that I've had kids that have played baseball and softball. I have kids that I've seen that I've had play football. And I could tell you that the parents at a racetrack are 10 times more responsible, caring, willing to help, way more than any of the bat and ball sports that I've been subject to. I mean, there are a lot of good parents in other sports, but you see it like at every baseball game, you wonder who the parent is that's going to freak out. Right. And you'd be lucky if there's only one, and it happens every time. Same with football. The things I've seen parents yell to refs and stuff, it's like, whew, my God. You don't really see that much in drag racing. You'll see a lot more on social media, people not happy with a particular organization. But I mean, as far as full-fledged freakouts at the track, I don't think, for the amount of people that are involved, I don't think it's nearly as much as kids' sports outside of racing.
One more thing to throw in it. Do you think at the racetrack, it's a little bit more self-regulated by other parents? With that, let's say that particular parent blows a gasket about whatever, the other parent says, hey, whatever, calm down.
I mean, in my opinion, you have that ability to calm that parent down at a baseball game too. Right? I mean, it's not like there's only two parents and they're both flipping out. On any given day, you've got 30 or 40 parents at a baseball game or a football game or whatever. I mean, you could just as easily self-regulate there. The problem is at a football game, you'll have 10 parents flipping out.
Right.
Right? Whereas at a racetrack, you might get one, or you might see someone lose their cool once they get inside their trailer and they're pissed off. But I've been to a lot more races than I have sporting events. And I've seen a lot more people blow gaskets at sporting events than I have at races.
What do you think, Carly?
I think, coming from the dance community, people don't like to call us a sport, but I'll tell you, like, you watch Dance Moms as scripted, but at the end of the day, some of it's not. Those parents are just that insane. I've been to a couple competitions with like Dance Moms. You can see my forehead in one of the episodes. That's my forehead,
Really?
nothing else. Yeah.
she's a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, I was viewed by like millions of people, just my forehead. But I'll tell you, those dance competitions are insane, and it's like if your team doesn't win, it's those parents are going crazy. I mean, but also at the dance competitions, particularly nationals, you see a lot of it with like Cheer on Netflix. You guys probably haven't watched it. I can't see you guys watching it.
I might have missed that. Yeah.
But the whole thing about nationals is to keep your routine a secret, because like when it comes down to the score sheet, you want to have the highest execution, you want to have the highest amount of difficulty. And if people know your routine, they can make their routine harder and get scored higher in another category. So the parents and like us, when we were in high school, like all of our parents were pretty much involved. It was the social media stalking of the other teams. Like you're going into the other teams' dancers, you're going into their parents, trying to find their routine. So you have one leg up when you go to nationals in Orlando. And I've seen parents at nationals, and whether you win or whether you lose, those parents are going insane. I mean, whether you're coming home with a jacket or not, it's intense. I mean, they'll flip out. Normally never at the judges, but you never know with these new dance competitions these days. So I definitely think with drag racing, the parents are a little bit cooler, because at the end of the day, you have that, you can get banned from a racetrack if you really flip and lose it. So I mean, you get banned from a dance competition, but there's a million other dance competitions. Your closest racetrack, you get banned from it, where you're going to go? An hour, 2 hours away, 3 hours
Right.
away. So I think these parents are a little bit more regulated, because they don't want to instill that moral into their kids either.
I remember when my son played Little League, and it was a summer league here where I live. And I was the assistant coach on his team. The coach on the other team was losing it. I mean, like absolutely, completely losing it. And myself and the other coach walked over between innings and told them, they're like, hey, Little League, none of these kids are getting recruited today. Shut up. Essentially, was what it came down to. And that's what it took. I mean, because this guy was screaming at the top of his lungs at Little Leaguers. And just,
Yep,
ugh.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I think as a whole, I'd be hard pressed to find a better group of parents, participants, spectators than at the drag strip. At the end of the day, it's still a pretty amazing group of people. I would put the drag racing community up against anybody in any sport. I just think it's a pretty tight knit, self-controlled group of people. That's one of the reasons why I love going.
All right. Next subject. We're gonna give it a teeny tiny bit of attention, because I think that's all it really deserves. We kind of touched on it last week. There's a distinct group of people that absolutely despise the junior program. We've all read it, we've all seen it, we've all heard it. Why?
I will tell you that when I started racing, I despised them too. They take up a lot of time. They're loud. They're obnoxious. I didn't like them at all. And I don't want people listening that don't like the junior program to take what I'm about to say the wrong way. But for me personally, when I started becoming a really big fan of the sport, I saw how necessary I believed the junior program was. And that's what made me appreciate it more. I will never hear a junior dragster fire up and go running to the fence to watch it. I just won't. But I'll tell you one thing, if you want to enjoy the junior program, go in the staging lanes and watch how the kids interact with their parents. Watch how they get ready. Brothers and sisters talking to each other. It's very cool to watch. That's one of the things that made me appreciate it a lot more.
Carly?
Yeah, I've never been against it. I mean, it was a little frustrating that I never had the opportunity, but I think it does wonders for these kids, because they're developing friendships that are like long lasting. your high school, like my dance team, I don't talk to any of those girls I was on dancing with. Like I don't see them. They're not in my life. And it's not like a bad thing, but it's just I don't see them. Where when you're racing with the same people every single weekend, you're building those lifelong friendships and they started from a young age. So I think there's a lot of value in that. And I think there's still a lot of value in teaching them as a person. I mean, I understand it. They are loud. Whenever they start up, I'm like, oh my gosh, here they go again. Like sometimes you just gotta pop those AirPods in and turn on Metallica
Right.
or something. Like
Yep.
if you're gonna listen to something loud, it better be like hit the lights or something. But I think there's a lot of value in them, and I think it doesn't make sense to be like against the program because a lot of the times if those kids weren't racing, those juniors, they probably wouldn't be coming to the track at all because they want to be at home hanging out with their school friends and not at the racetrack because they're not racing with everybody else. So
Yep.
I think there's a lot of value in having it as a program. It's just, yeah, it's time consuming. Yeah, it's frustrating, but it is keeping the next generation in the sport. And at the end of the day, these kids should know how to reasonably handle a car by the time they get of driving age. So I always feel a little bit safer lining up against a junior kid and a kid in a new Dodge Challenger that has no racing experience that's just going to go and fry the tires off and not lift. So there's definitely a lot of value in it. It's just it has to be applied correctly.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many families. I mean, right off the top of my head, I'll use the example of the Stalbas.
Right.
Tom and Karen have
Mhm.
their race cars, and every one of their kids has a junior.
Yep.
You know, so they're also rolling into whatever racetrack with 3, 4, 5 race cars, you know, for that weekend too.
Right. Now, I mean,
And
you
it
got,
makes it easier to stop.
right, you got the
Like if you
D-Pass
lose
scales.
one race.
I think they have like 14 kids and they all race. The Antonettis, right? Same thing. Bunch of kids, they all race. And that's you know, you've heard me say it 100 times on the program how I really like the whole family thing. And I mean, if you last year in the media, we were parked across the way from the D Pascals and the Antonettis, and just to watch them all just do their thing, right? Get the cars ready, get the kids loaded up, put them on the golf cart. It's such a cool thing to watch. Jimmy Stack has 3 boys that race, another friend of the show. It's cool to watch them all interact. I mean, you have couples that are no longer married, right? They've got other boyfriends, other girlfriends, but their kids are at the track and they're there helping them. I mean, it's a big time family thing. And I mean, unless you're like some cold-hearted person, you can't help but, you know, not be happy or impressed when you're seeing the whole family interact. Look at, you know, last week, Taylor and her sister Tori. I mean, they started in juniors. Look at how much of a tight-knit family they are, and they just progressed with their cars, but they're still that same tight family. You know, whenever you could get a kid to put down their iPad and go out and do something and interact with their family, I don't see how you could go wrong with it.
Or organized chaos. Some of it looks like you look at
Oh,
them
it
and you wonder
absolutely is.
how the
It's
hell are you
great.
doing that?
Yep.
How are you pulling that off with, you know, again, mom, dad, you know, 3, 4, 5 kids all, you
Right.
know, towing
It's hard enough
juniors.
with one car.
Right. Well, so, I mean, I race one slow ass car, right? I'm in Super Street. It's a slow car. It's fast for the class, but it's the slowest class they have. And I couldn't picture doing anything else at the track besides what I'm doing. Now, you take Chris D. Pascal, on any given day, he's driving Super Street and Super Comp and has 3 junior dragsters going down the track. Now, his father helps him, Tommy helps him, but it's 2 people doing the job of 5, and they love it. And they're good at it, which is even more, it pisses me off even more. I only have one
Sometimes
thing I
I
gotta
think-
concentrate on, and they do better than me, and they're running around like maniacs.
That's
Maybe
the
that's
thing.
what it-
Sometimes I think the more you have your hands in different
Yeah.
things, the better you are because you're distracted. Like when I was at I used to race at English Town. I would run 3 classes in one day. I'd be jumping back and forth between my street Mustang, which is what I started in. It was a computer car, first year drive-by-wire. One of the worst cars you could choose to bracket race. I had that. We did a lot of work to make it consistent, but I was jumping back and forth between that and my Camaro, and I did well because I didn't have any time to have like
Yeah, maybe
those like
that's the
negative
trick.
thoughts.
Carly, this year I'm gonna
Overanalyze
work on your
anything.
car in between rounds, all right?
I'm
Good
like,
job.
sometimes I just think it's easier. I mean, when we did get a trailer and we were towing, I'm like, it's so funny. I have to tell this story. We just got rid of the truck a couple of years ago. We had an old Expedition that we bought. It was like a 2007 or something, and it was a little crappy. I'm not gonna lie. My dad and I were just joking about it this morning because like one day we were at ACO. It was like right after I bought my black car because I bought my black car from my red car because I used to race Modern Muscle with that and I did really well with that car. And I bought the black car and we towed it with the trailer with that truck to the track. And like one day it just starts smelling like pizza. I'm like, Dad, did you leave pizza in the truck? And he's like, no, I thought you left pizza in the truck. Come to find out, the cats were going bad on the truck, and for whatever reason, it smelled like pizza. So, like, we're trying to make it up the hill to New Media, and we're like probably 10 minutes from the track, and you can smell them. They're like practically on fire. You can smell that pizza smell, and we're just cracking up. Like, if we get to this race and everything works out, which we did. That was the last year of the truck, 2019, my first year at Super Street. We sold it after that, and I bought my F-150, but it was like, that's where like you have to start, you know, like if you're just getting handed stuff, like you gotta have that humble start, like because it makes those hilarious stories. Like my dad and I constantly tell you stories like, hey, remember that truck when like we pulled into like we also pulled into New Media and everybody's looking at us like you're pulling in with like that piece of junk, like did you even wash it? Like everybody's just looking at us like with dirty looks and we're cracking up, and it's those humble starts, you know, like so
That's
I
awesome.
find
All right. Moving on. There's something that Pete wanted to discuss, and we're going to include you in this conversation, Carly, if you have time, of course.
I got time.
Well,
All right.
first thing I want to do before we get into it is, Carly, what races are you attending this year that you know of? And what do you have for sponsors or people that you'd like to thank?
So let's start with races first. We're gonna try to hit most of the Division 1 races this year. They kind of hit me over the head with them being before
Right.
summer. Especially the national event schedule when they come a little bit closer to home. Of course, it's during the school year, like Virginia, Maple Grove. But I think the only Division 1 races that we're not going to be able to do or we're questionable about is Lebanon and Virginia. I'm registered for Charlotte as of now in Super Street. That's the plan. We're really not changing the black car. We're keeping the same 363 because it worked after I blew it up on the second pass. at Maple Grove, the first pass of the year, which was not my fault, but so we're gonna do that. Run Rob's races. I'm gonna try to come out in the dragster in April. I'm gonna hopefully license Top Dragster at some point this year, but it's all gonna be how I feel in the car. Cause it's like plans have changed so much from when I even bought the dragster because it was gonna be big block Ford powered, and now that's been pushed back. Cause try getting a Ford block. That's the fun challenge, but definitely try to do a little bit of national events, dabble in some super comp here and there, try to run a full season, but definitely try to go back to bracket racing too, because I did like 2 bracket races last year. I had no idea what I was doing because I've been out of it for 2.5 years and I'm turning wind lights on and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's working. So try to go back to some bracket racing when the schedule allows, because I do like the top hold. But sponsors, I always have to thank Team Z. They were my first big sponsor. They did the entire suspension on my black car, which is what gave us the car to run in Super Street, because I broke the K member that was not theirs 3 times in 2
Wow.
weeks. in 2 weeks. Just
Wow.
kept cracking it. As soon as I went on the trans break, I broke it like 3 times. But Team Z is a big one. Windsor Automotive in Heightstown, he's been huge in getting us out there. I'll hurt something in the cylinder head. I'll have them off in 24 hours. I'll be like, hey, can you like fix it? I'll have it back to me for the weekend. And he's like, stop blowing it up. I'm like, it's not me. Because at the time I didn't have the Jesel valve train. I switched over to a Jesel valve train this past year, and I can spin the car up to $8,000 and not flip the valve. So Windsor's been huge. Rhino Power Sports supplements. If you know, I'm like huge into working out and like the health aspect. Like I'm up at like 4 o'clock in the morning every weekday at the gym. And if it weren't for Rhino Power and their sports supplements, sometimes I don't know how I would make it through.
Chris and I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's because we're old and we have to pee.
My day's starting at 4. Everybody's like, you're insane. And I'm like, listen, it's the only 2 hours I get to myself. So it's like the only 2 hours of my day where nobody bothers me. I can just go, I can work out, and feel good after. But also Liberty Engine Parts, they helped me get my backup engine for my door car done. I got one of the last small block Ford blocks in the country when the pandemic hit, thanks to them. And we just signed with Champion Oil a couple weeks ago. So we're going to be using Champion in both cars this year.
Excellent. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Pete and I get up at 4 o'clock, go to the gym and say, all right, which one of these workout benches can I fit on to lay down and take a nap?
Yeah, really. Good job.
Sometimes when people do that, they just try to get away from their wives. Because like I climb stairs for 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I'll do like 100 flights of stairs in the morning, and I can see everything going on in the gym. And I'm like, you're definitely out of here. Just get away from your wife. Definitely.
All right, Pete.
All right, so hot button topic. Pro Tree 370 and 470 is now going to be 400 and 500. And I know that Allison Dow will correct me because it was actually some compensation or something, but I'm phrasing it wrong, but the idea is correct. Basically, they're slowing the tree back down so that you can react to it like you did back in the day when there were incandescent bulbs, is about what it comes down to. And I think Carly is kind of on the same page as I am. I would really like for someone that doesn't agree with me to come up with a reason why, something besides the stupidity of everyone gets a trophy and you don't have good work ethic, because that's basically all I've heard. And to me, that doesn't really support a good argument at all. My personal opinion, and just to let everybody know, I'm probably going to be long-winded with this, and a lot of you people are probably going to hate me after this, but if that's even possible to hate me more. I don't have a dog in the fight here. All right. My car will go red on any tree, at any track, in any temperature. I've got a big block in the car that makes a ton of torque, and I've got the wheelbase of a Matchbox car. So it's not very hard for me to hit a 370 tree in the middle of the summer anywhere. I also get paid to set people's cars up that can't hit a Pro Tree. So it really doesn't benefit me in any way for them to change the tree back. Now, what I want to know is why people are so against it, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, if you're lazy and you don't want to get underneath the car and make a shock adjustment or make a 4-link change or experiment with some things, then I don't agree with it. Okay. But I personally know a good amount of people that have literally spent thousands of dollars and beaten their head against the wall and could not make it happen. Obviously, not so much in Super Street as Super Gas and Super Comp, but in a sport, especially now with the overhead of everything going completely ridiculous, where even if you have a car that works, you take so much dedication to be competitive and just get to the track that I don't understand why you have to add in the expense of getting your car to react to a tree that if they just dialed it back a little bit, you'd have so many more people that would be able to compete. And that's basically, I mean, I wish if you see someone in the comment section saying something, try and get them on so that they can come on and speak their piece. Because like I said, the only people that I've spoken to that are against it are make the comment of, oh, you're afraid to work on your car, you're afraid to do that. Listen, I'm sure there's some people out there that are lazy, but for the most part, you're not going to get to the track and be competitive if you're lazy. I've never seen that be a recipe for success. You know, in the whole, oh, everyone gets a trophy, we're catering. You're not catering. All you're doing is going back to the way it once was, right? No one is asking anyone to make the tree a 550 tree or a 450 tree. All they're asking for is to get it back to what it was. And with the belief of if you put it back to what it was, there are more people that will be able to participate and be competitive.
There's two comments on there if I can jump in real quick.
Please do.
First one from Rob Keister. Tires, trans, converter, 4 links. My pit looked like a junkyard, he said. Jason Lawrence. Well, you should have to pay your dues like everyone else and struggle like everyone else and spend the money like everyone else to make it happen. And let's see. Another one just came up. You got a lot more slow cars that can now compete and agree. Chuck Morris agrees with you, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, I'll give you a perfect example. Anyone who races divisionals in Super Comp knows Bill Krug, right? I don't know, Carly, if you've ever heard of him. Chris, I'm sure you have. He has been a divisional racer for as long as I can remember. He has spent a countless amount of money on trying to get his dragster to work in Super Comp, to the point where he was getting ready to order a $60,000 car because he's tired of, in the heat of the summer, him having to go up to the starting line with nothing in his delay box and having to take off a little bit of a bite while staging just to be competitive. And you cannot tell me that Bill Krug hasn't spent money, hasn't done his dues. He has. So, you know, if all they could do is just go back to the way it was so that people don't have to spend an absurd amount of money, I just don't see how that could be a bad thing.
And I'll tell you, it would have saved me a couple of years ago up at Epping, having that 500 tree, because we showed up for the Jag Sports Nationals in the divisional, and we tested on Thursday, made a good pass, car sounded great, car went like 1089 or whatever. I'm on the return road and I hear a pitch change. Like I said to my dad, I'm like, can we go over the car? Like, I want to make sure everything's all right. And we checked everything. Everything looked fine. Go out the next day. And mind you, I was 12 in time trials. Like, I was 12, no delay. Because when you're running a small tire car, it's very tricky
Right.
to hit it, especially at the time I had a 347. I did not have a whole lot of torque to hit the tree. So you're doing the best you can. And now with this 363, it's a little bit easier, but it's still challenging depending on the track. So anyway, I'm at Epping. I come up the next day for the race and I'm 82. And I'm like, maybe I missed it. I don't feel like I missed it, but maybe I missed it. Go up the next pass, 78. I'm like, again, maybe I missed it. Don't
Yep.
feel like I missed it. Go into like first round, 80 something again. And I'm like, all right, so we're rewinding the video. We're looking at the tires. We ended up changing tires. We put Mountain Dew on the tires. I kid you not, we bought a bottle of Mountain Dew and painted them on the tires, trying to get more traction to get the car to plant. And it's still not doing anything. And went to a stiffer sidewall, everything, still 82. Come to find out, I bent the stator in the converter. So I was running the number, the car was doing fine. You could see my hands coming off the button when you would see the flash, but the car's not going. So for a whole solid month while I waited to get my spare converter back that was adjusted for the car, I had to race on a 470 tree and I was cutting like 82 lights. So I'm over here trying to bump in as deep as possible
Right.
without turning the bulb on.
Without deep staging, so you don't get disqualified, right?
And it was hard. And you're trying to look at the person too. When it was a 500 tree, I was right on the cusp of the 500. You're trying to look at the person. Well, this person cuts 10 lights. I got to take that extra bump. Oh, this person's normally 30. I can stage shallow. And it was really, it was challenging. So I think this change is good for the sport in a way, because not everybody has the money to back half their cars. Not everybody has the money to go and throw pro brakes in, because I know a lot of Chevy transmissions come with the pro brake.
Right.
A lot of Fords do not. It's a fortune for the pro brake in the Ford, and it's dangerous because you can put the car into reverse without holding the button, and the car will back up. It will back up without holding the button, and you will do some serious damage to the trans. So I agree, for the people that spent a lot of money to hit the 370, to hit the 470, I understand where they're coming from. But at the same time, you're just adding 30 delay, and you never know. Sometimes you go to some tracks where the rollout's whacked out. Like I feel like Virginia, the rollout's whacked out, and you want that extra delay because I know that one. I don't know if it's still like that. It's been a year and a half since I've been there, but that second yellow was out in like California. So you're trying not to look at that, but I don't see how it can really hurt. It's only gonna hopefully bring new people into sport, hopefully bring those 10-0 guys in, but you never know. I
Yep.
mean,
What do
it's
you got,
just
Chris?
30 delay.
Yeah.
30 delay.
Couple more comments from Bill Troom. It never should have changed. I went to Super Street because of the tree change. It took a lot of time and money to get back into Super Gas. Jason Lawrence again, got a gift back when they changed it, getting an extra 30 in the box. Then they took that away. Why wouldn't you want the help and extra time? Can also lessen the hit, which can make the car better overall.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can turn your two-step down now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other thing. On top of, the people that were able to put in the time and the car responded by working properly, the tongue is hanging out of it, right? I mean, you're killing your converter, your rear end, the sidewalls of the tires, again, my car, it doesn't really matter. It's light. It's really not an issue, but for the people that are really struggling and they're right on the edge, they're beating the death out of their car. And I just don't see an advantage for it. Like you said, bare minimum, you're doing a pro brake. You're probably doing, like if you run a Power Glide, you're going to go with an 180 gear set. Maybe a gear change in the rear end, maybe a stiff sidewall tire or a bead lock, so the sidewall doesn't flex as much. It's an unnecessary expense, in my opinion. Just the wear and tear, and that's if you are able to achieve. We know a lot of people that spent all that money and still couldn't get the car to react on a 370 tree. I don't know. This sport is hard enough to be competitive and to maintain without adding that. And that's just how I feel about it.
It's hard enough racing on a small tire if the car does hook. Try doing a small, and that's the thing people don't get. Try doing a small tire on a 470 tree.
Right.
It's hard, and then trying to get it to hook. I mean, I had to do a lot of tuning with the throttle stop this past year
Yep.
and the two-step to get that car down the track. And I have a great suspension, but you get a hot, greasy track, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And
Right.
my
Right.
favorites when the track conditions change,
Yep.
I'll set the car up on Saturday for qualifying, and then Sunday comes in and it's glued like no tomorrow.
Right.
And now I'm going red.
Right.
So it's
Or
like,
you're on a Saturday afternoon making a time hit and it's 95 degrees out and your car is down 50 horsepower. And it's
Yeah.
just, in my opinion, Rob Keister said it the best. The same people, and this is a blanket statement, obviously, it doesn't always apply, but for the most part, the same people that win in his series with a 400 and 500 tree are the same people that are winning Division I divisionals and national events, right? So it's not like that everyone gets a trophy comment drives me crazy. And the reason why it drives me crazy is because it's so much effort and expense to get to the track and be competitive. And last I checked, you still got to turn on 5, 6, or 7 win lights to get the trophy. So that everyone gets a trophy comment just because they're changing the tree back to what it was is the most moronic comment I could ever possibly hear. It does not apply. And it
that's the
seems
thing
like,
with bracket racing.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
says
mean-
the same thing about bracket racing. They're like, oh, well, you'll just go down to street ET and beat people up. And I'm like, listen, I don't know how street is now, but when I ran street back in 2016, I was on the trailer with 20 thou packages. You're
Right.
on the trailer.
Right.
So it's like, I don't feel like it really matters what class you race because you can get put on the trailer and trophy
right,
with the 20 pack, and you can
Right,
get put on
right.
the trailer and super or the million with the 5 pack. They can be the same package.
yep,
So I just feel like we compare apples to oranges so often, and we laugh at other types of racing.
right,
And class racing, I mean, really, if you don't have a backup engine, a backup transmission, if you don't have that backup stuff, it's very difficult to run the division series or the
Yeah.
national event series because you
Right.
need a lot of money to get you into those
Right.
class races. It's not like, oh, you run pro ET and you break your Mustang or you break your G body, just get in your street car, get in your F-150 and get points. You can't do that.
right.
So it's
Exactly.
like
I mean, just
1090, you need everything you can get.
the fact that it's usually a 3 or 4 day event and you got to take the time off from work. And then you got to figure out, motorhome, hotel room, sleeping in your trailer, whatever it is, right?
They've done it all.
Yeah. The expense to get there and back. I mean, it's not like someone said, okay, well, we're going to roll 30 back into the tree and we're going to let everyone in for free. And you're automatically going into the 4th round.
Yeah,
I
you can take turns winning. We take turns winning.
I don't understand the whole, to me, when someone doesn't have a legitimate argument about anything, not even just racing, when they don't have a legitimate argument, they say, well, everyone's turning into a wuss and everyone gets a trophy. It's like, dude, bring some substance to the subject.
You still got to drive the top.
out.
If anything,
Exactly.
you still got to drive the top.
Exactly. I couldn't agree
And
more.
I feel that's the hardest part.
Yeah, well, without a doubt. Yeah, I agree.
Especially because you never know, like every track's top end looks different. So
Yep.
sometimes you have the scoreboards at like 1,000 foot, and sometimes you have 20 feet past the finish line.
Right.
So it's like I don't really feel like it's handing out a trophy to anybody because you still got to earn it.
Couldn't agree
You
more.
still got to set your car up right, whether it's
Yep.
for a 500 tree, a 470 tree, 1090, a bracket race. You still got to do all that stuff right.
I agree. What do you got, Chris?
A couple more comments from Bill Trum. The best move NHRA has made in a long time. Chuck Morris. Them trophies all cost me 7 rounds or more.
I mean, and like, again, going back to what Rob Keister said, the same people are winning. And you want to know why the same people are winning? Because they're the ones that put in the most work, that have the most data, that have the most hits on their car, right? And whether they have 30 in the delay box or not, whether there are newcomers coming in that can't work on a 370 tree, but will work on a 400, or, 470, 500. It's, you put in the effort and for the most part, you'll get the rewards.
Everybody likes to bust on Keith Mares because he's got a hell of a sense of humor. He can take it, and he's one of the best racers in the entire country.
And he can drink a lot.
And he can drink a lot. Yes,
He does it all.
yeah, he's an all around great guy.
He's my hero.
There you go. It's what Pete wants to be when he grows up.
You're not kidding.
But everybody talks crap about the Porsche because everybody's almost always chasing the Porsche.
Yep.
Not only is he out in his Porsche as many weekends as he can, he's out in one of his hot rods at the racetrack as many weekends as he can. So get, like you said, Pete, he's putting in the work.
Right.
Maybe okay, he's not going 1090 in his hot rod. He's maybe going, I don't know, 12, 13 seconds, but he's still having to use this.
It's seat time. It's being there. It's hits in a car. Absolutely.
It's preparing for every situation imaginable. Because, like, you always say there's 1,000,001 ways to lose. When you think you found them all, you find another.
Yeah. And once
And-
you find them all, then you start from the beginning again. So yeah.
Yeah, you forget. It was like 30 years ago. You forget. Cycle
Rob
never
Houston
ends.
just commented. What did he say?
But backing up just a tiny little bit. Bill Trim also put up, especially now, it costs a lot more money to travel today.
Right.
Fuel, hotels, food, everything is gone stupid.
Right.
So it's costing you a lot more money, not only to get to the track, but there's also people I've talked to, a couple of our top sportsman friends. They're waiting on connecting rods. They're waiting on pistons. They're, a lot of people, not just them, but all of you as well.
Right.
There's a part shortage in the country. And so they're sitting around going, okay, says it's here. Hopefully it'll be here in a couple days.
Yep.
You know?
Listen, at the end of the day, just getting to the track and being somewhat prepared and competitive is a lot of dedication. And you're not going to convince me otherwise.
I'll tell you, we've rebuilt top ends of engines at the track. So
Oh,
we've
back in
done
the day.
some crazy stuff. I mean, my dad does all my engine work. So I remember New Media, we were having a little issue and it ended up being the intake manifold, which had a different gasket sealer and a different sealer. I mean, it did not work. Intake manifold started sucking air. So
Yep.
it I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. I mean,
Yep.
you're over here, you're banging your head against the wall. You make one fast pass, you make two 2/10 slower the next pass because it's sucking air. And
Right.
it's that dedication that keeps you there and that gets you out the next weekend. And I don't feel like changing the tree is gonna have any effect on the
And that's-
dedication because you're still
That's pretty
showing up.
much my whole point. Right.
You're still showing up. You're still putting the work in. Things still go wrong.
Yep.
No matter what the tree is, it could be a
Right.
700 tree. Things are still going to go wrong, and
Yep.
it's up to you to fix it. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Go home and cry about it?
Right.
From Rob Keister, we actually run a 400 and 500 tree in his series. When we took a vote, we had racers who said they couldn't hit a 370 and wouldn't support the series. So run with 40 cars per class or suffer and only have a 16 cars show up.
I've made a comment on several posts, and not a single person that opposes this change answered my comment. My question is, if changing the tree back allowed one racer that couldn't race before race now, would you add 30 to your delay box so we could get one more person to participate that normally couldn't? And instead of directly saying yes or no, they would come back with some stupid comment that made absolutely no sense, in my opinion. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. Would you roll 30 more in your delay box so that one person that otherwise couldn't compete now can? In my opinion, that's what it's all about. Some people have said they don't think it will bring anyone new. I disagree with that comment, but it's their opinion. So I respect it. That's fine. I don't agree with it. I think it is going to bring more people, but it might not. But I'm still willing to roll 30 into my delay box just to see if we will get anybody new. I'm totally fine with doing it.
I'll tell you, my dad, when we first started Super Street, 'cause I wanted to do it for years, he was like, you realize throttle stops, delay boxes, this stuff's involved. It's not foot braking anymore. It's a 470 tree, essentially. He's
Right.
like, it's gonna be hard. And I don't think he wanted to do it because you knew you had to have all that backup. You had to have all the extra parts. And
Sure.
it was a lot of data that we didn't have coming into it. And for 2 years, I beat my head against the wall trying to hit a 473. And some days I was great, other days, different track, 40s. It's the
Yep.
best you can do that weekend.
Right.
And everybody's looking at you, kind of laughing at you because you're like, oh, well, I have 40 delay in my box. Like, you're running no delay. That's ridiculous. You suck. And it's like, no, it's really, I'm working with what I can do here. And I
Right.
mean, Keith Mayer said to us my first year, he's like, you don't get brownie points for having the worst car in the class. And he's totally right.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if it does give somebody the opportunity to come in and give it a shot, even if they feel like they can turn on one light or two, or even hang if they don't turn any on,
Right.
that's worth it to me. And I know when I started back in 2019, I would have loved to have that opportunity.
I
But even
agree.
the
I
foot
just-
brake on it,
I
because
don't
you can't
see-
foot brake a 470. It's very difficult to foot brake a 470. And you have
Right.
people from Matco that want to run Super Street but can't run it because they don't have trans brakes and they have to foot brake and you can't go deep. So, I mean, Dave Harvey is the perfect example. He foot brakes everything.
Right.
So, I mean, if he can't run the tree, I mean, he's run a 470 and foot braked it before, but I mean, really, it makes people easier. You have ACO's a whole track of foot breakers. So you have a bunch of people that would probably love to try it, but they can't do
Sure.
it because it's a 470.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, even if they don't run track to track to track, right? Even if when we
One
just
event.
go to Lebanon Valley, I mean, Lebanon Valley has a fantastic Super Street program.
Yeah, you guys get a lot of local racers for that
Right.
one.
I have to believe that when the divisional comes around and it's a 500 tree, you're going to see more participants. Now, they might not run the whole series, but who cares? If every
Now, does
time you go
Lebanon's
to a track,
association run a 500?
yes, he runs 500 and 400.
And see, Lebanon, I feel like that tree can be a little funky too.
Right.
So you want everything you can
Sure.
get, especially at a track like that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like Lebanon, sometimes I'm 00, and then the next one I'm like
Yeah.
40.
What do you
So
got,
it's
Chris?
like you want everything you can get.
Right?
Let's see. Michael Beard. This conversation just goes to prove that some people will complain about anything.
I hear that.
NHRA is correcting a wrong that they created in the first place. Every car with a delay box can comply with the setup in a matter of seconds.
And I mean, we've had this long convoluted conversation along with countless Facebook posts, and he just nailed it in 3 sentences. I think it was 3 sentences. I think. But
Michael Beard's good for that.
yeah, but I mean, honestly, like I said, at the end of the day, I'll tell you the people that are butthurt. The people that have spent a lot of money to get their car to work and succeeded. And I get that. I totally get that because it's a lot of work that they didn't necessarily have to do. I feel their pain, but at the end of the day, we've all blown money on stuff that blew up in our face, and it happens. You're giving people a shot that could race that couldn't ordinarily do so. I don't see how that's a bad thing.
It's like
Just
putting
how I
more
feel.
butts in putting more butts in the grandstands. You get more cars in the pits.
Yep. I don't know. I know there's people out there that don't agree with me, and I'm cool with that. But I would just like to hear some. I'd like to hear constructive comments as opposed to just the generic ones.
But see, it's not like it's a sudden change either. It's been this way for a long time. since the early 2000s. Am I right? It's not like they tried it out for 1 or 2 years. You spent all that money and now it's like down the drain. You did have to make it work for like 10 years or so.
Right.
So,
Unless you just recently came in the last couple of years and spent all that money, I could totally understand where that would suck. I get it, and I sympathize with it. But again, if you're a fan of the sport and you want to see the sport and the classes grow, at the end of the day, you're taking one for the team for what is hopefully going to be better for the sport and the classes.
and we all can save our valve trains a little bit now because we
That
don't have
too,
to have the
yeah.
2-step and same.
Yeah.
Because you know that wreaks havoc on your valve train.
From Rob, 2004,
Right.
and we
It's been
weren't even
18
told
years.
they changed it.
Yep. It's been 18 years from what I've heard.
That's a long time.
And in my opinion, they made this rule for the pros because the pros are the ones that bitched that they're going red because they could see the light so much quicker. Now, if there is ever a group of people that would have the resources, the technology, and the funds to adapt, you would think it would be the pros, right? So instead of making a change to the tree and screwing over the tens of thousands of sportsman racers, let's protect the 50 pro racers and make all the sportsman racers chase their tails. And that move to me, I am not an NHRA basher. I stick up for them every chance I get. That move made absolutely no sense to me. The probably millions of dollars collectively that they've cost the sportsman racers when the pros have the ability and the funds to figure it out. And they just elected to stick it on us instead.
Let me just ask this question. I won't say the person's name, but it was one specific motorcycle racer, if I remember correctly, and one of those comments in that thread you were talking about, Pete. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I don't remember. I know Pro Stock Motorcycle had the most adverse reaction to the quicker tree. But even still, again, I don't remember the pro cars red lighting. I mean, even now, an outrageous light is like outrageously good light is a 30 or a 40. So even if it, the light went back and they were seeing it 30 quicker, that would still be an O. I don't remember that being an issue so much. Pro stock and pro stock motorcycle, I believe, were the two classes that took the biggest beating with the change in the tree. So figure out how to slow the clutch down. Mess around with the clutch linkage. They have the resources.
Well, they also allow delay devices in motorcycle ET.
Right.
So you can have a delay device in motorcycle ET. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't understand pro stock motorcycle per se. I know the ins and outs, but I don't understand why you couldn't put a delay device in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, to me, it's just that they catered to the people who had the most money and the most resources, and they stuck it to the people who had the least. It's just kind of the way I see it.
I agree. Well said.
Thank you very much.
My hero.
Anything in the comments on what I just said, or is that?
Blah blah blah. From Michael Beard, Pro Stock had a lot of issues with it early on as well.
Right.
We should reach out to our friend in Pro Stock Motorcycle and see if we can get him on to talk about it. If we can see if he'll talk about that instead of pizzas and cell phones.
Well, the problem with that is you gotta, and we're good with him, but you gotta get someone who's raced for longer than 18 years so they could comment on, the change. Steve Johnson definitely has.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's a good move for NHRA, but like Michael Beard says, you could get 10 people together and they won't agree on what color grass is. So there's no way in the world you can make a change that affects tens of thousands of people and have everyone agree on it.
Right.
Just the way it is.
It is. Cool.
So that's that.
So is that everything you expected and more for it to be, Pete?
I was hoping someone would want to jump on and argue with me, but
Well,
No
we know
such thing.
nobody will argue in person, but when they can,
Get behind their screen. Go
I
face
just,
to face.
listen, I don't have one thing that I will say about myself, and hopefully I'm accurate in saying it, is I've got no problem with a good debate. And I have zero problem listening to other people's opinions and respecting them. But give me something. Tell me something of substance instead of the generic stupidity when you don't have anything to bring to the table.
because that's why. Because that's-
Right. Everyone
But-
gets a trophy.
But-
Relax.
So I
What
expect
they-
my Wally next year if everybody's getting a trophy. I
Right,
expect to just
right.
get, I expect to pay my
Exactly, yeah.
entry fee and get
Yeah,
an
yeah,
entry
without
If you
a
trophy.
come to
doubt.
Lebanon Valley, I'll sneak one of the Wallies out of the office for you.
I want one of them cool national
Sorry, I
event
have
ones
to
that are
work that
tall.
one.
That's what I want.
I want the one that Erica Enders got this weekend with the Hearst shifter on it.
Yeah, yeah. See, I want a cool one. If everyone's getting one, I want mine to be cool.
And you
Yeah,
want it
like
probably
those
red.
like gunmetal ones that they have for
Yeah.
those bracket races now.
Right.
That's pretty cool. I mean, if
Uh,
that's the case, then you got to get rid of the Wallies in the bracket program. Then, if that's the case, if everybody's getting a trophy, then you got to stop running for Wallies and Super Pro, Pro, and Street.
I think we should
Just
just
get a
get one at the gate when we pull in.
I want a Wally for doing this.
That's
I
right.
mean, you get participation trophies for your soccer, like for your little league. Now.
Right, right.
I have a
know
bunch of
what
them
I do.
upstairs in my attic.
Oh,
When I
yeah,
played
I know
soccer,
it.
really shaped me as a person.
So Chris, who do we have next week?
All right, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, also, Rob Keister said he wishes that we saved this conversation for him. Listen, I've got no problem with bringing it back up.
I was gonna
Maybe
say, we
now-
can,
Yeah, maybe now that we talked about it, there'll be some people tuning in with some ammunition for me.
we can
They got a
revisit
full
this.
Yeah,
2 weeks, 2 weeks,
2 weeks for
2
Rob.
weeks.
2 weeks till Rob. All
They
right,
can
hang
know,
on.
they can start drafting now.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they can start thinking about it now. All right,
Start
hang
making the
on.
voodoo doll and sticking it with pins.
You're so harsh on yourself.
There we go. There's my, I got
Oh,
one.
Chris, you got a trophy.
I
Congratulations.
got
It
my
must be
trophy.
because of the new delay in the tree,
There we go.
Didn't even have to pay for it.
right?
Rob says we should make a Pete. Maybe that's what we should do for the end of the year. We'll come up with like a Pete award.
Wow, that would be good. What would the award be given for? I could only imagine. Baddest
The best debate, the best Facebook debate
I like
over
that.
race season.
I like that.
Because
got a
people will
long-
get
we
into
got-
it.
We've got 10 months to go. We're gonna have
Best-
a lot of debates.
Best debate award. We'll shorten that up for the Pete Award. I like that.
And the two people that go at it the hardest.
Yeah.
Dumbest comment. Oh, I would win that. That's already given. That's mine.
That's easy.
Quietest one.
Good stuff.
All right. So to answer your question, next week's actually going to be our buddy Jason Lawrence. We're going to talk a little bit. Probably we're going to hit on
I
this
was
again.
we might have 3 weeks in a row of talking about this stupid tree.
Don't be up to
And,
race season by the time you're done discussing
You're
it.
not kidding.
The fact that 2 of the classes, what was it, Super Pro and Pro, are going to be running 8th mile at the bracket finals, and some people are happy and some people are not.
Off the
That's a
wall.
good discussion one.
So Jason wanted to discuss that one. So Pete, that means you're going to have to come back next week.
I might be 4 weeks in a row here.
You're going to need a vacation.
Carly, normally this was my week off, but because you were coming on and I wanted to formally apologize to you.
Well, I was
Yeah.
also standing next to a drag surf. That does help.
Yeah, that threw me off.
been a while since I've been in one.
That's the excuse I'm going with.
I'm helping out here.
All right, before we pack it in, do you want to take a couple of minutes and blow through the results?
Not really.
All right, I'll do it before, well, you guys can get on out of here. I'll run through them real quick. I'm not gonna
Thank you
put all
for
the love
having me.
notes out there that I took hours out of my morning today to prepare
To
for
cut and
you.
paste. I can tell you, Robert Height, Ashley, I don't know what his first name is, and Eric Anderson.
Justin.
Pros. What's his,
Justin.
Justin?
Yeah.
I
All
can
right.
tell you they won.
All right, too bad.
And
You're gonna
Erica
say
for
it.
Pro
I'm gonna do it.
Stock.
I'm gonna do it. Justin Ashley wins in top fuel over Austin Pronk. Funny car, Robert Height over Ron Capps. By the way, real quick, Ron Capps is not happy with Mopar because they're not working with him on a body.
Ooh.
So there's a chance you could see him switch to Toyota.
Wow. I'd like to see him switch to Chevrolet, but that's besides the point. Before you go on, did you see that final round and what happened with Robert Height?
Yeah, a crew member got hit.
So as they were lowering the body, it hit the linkage on the injector and burped the car, and it actually blew the guy back on the starting line. How about driver of the event award for being able to gather up his stuff on the starting line and still win that final round?
Yep.
That's pretty impressive.
He must have been somewhat of a mess at the top end.
Man, he said he didn't even care if the wind light came on or not. The first thing when he turned off was he wanted to know how his guy was. He figured that he was okay because the crew chief waved him into the beams and they didn't shut the track down. But he said he was pretty nervous going through.
Pro Stock, Erica Enders over Aaron Stanfield. Very, very funny moment in Erica Enders' winner interview.
I already know what you're going to say.
There's a person,
Yes.
and
Yep.
it's not me.
You're right. Thank God for once. It's not
Yeah,
us.
for me, it's not. And I'm not doing this for once. I'm
Right.
just posting the results too early. That's
Yep.
why. That's the only thing
Yeah,
I'm
you
guilty
big
of.
jerk. Yeah.
In her winner interview, she called out a particular person as a couch keeper in his mom's basement.
What did
Because
she say? The guy occupying his couch in his mom's basement.
The couch in his mom's basement,
It was
because
friggin'
he
awesome.
called her basically
Old and washed up.
past
I
her
think
prime.
he said, yeah.
Yeah, she's like what, 33, 34, whatever.
What the hell are we? Yeah. Too
Yeah, but
funny.
she's past her prime and she's not gonna win anymore, and
Yeah, right,
so on
right.
and whatever. So she called him out on national TV. It was pretty damn
It
funny.
was awesome.
Top alcohol dragster Mike Coughlin over Joey Severance. Top alcohol funny car Shane Westerfield over Nick Janet. Comp eliminator Cody Lane defeated Doug Lambeck. Super stock Ken Elter in a 93 Dodge Shadow.
Wow. What was the ET on that?
Well, no, rear wheel drive, but it was just, how often do you see a 93
Yeah, right,
Dodge Shadow?
right. So that's a super stock car. That's got to be a GT car or something.
No, more than it does. Yeah, it doesn't have the class. I
Doesn't
could go
say.
back and find it, but it'll take too long.
Yep.
Dodge Shadow defeated Jimmy DeFrank
Wow.
in one of his super duper Chevy Cobalts.
Yep.
Stock eliminator Leo Glassbrenner defeated Jeff Lane. Super comp James Glenn over Wade Archer. Super gas Ed Open over Pete Both. Top dragster Mo Trujillo defeated Phil Dion. Top sportsman Doug Mazzeri over Jeff Gillette. And our buddy Duran didn't have a banner weekend in Super Comp, but that's all right. It's first race of the year.
I got to tell you, I sent him a message that says when the pendulum swings back his way, it's going to be epic. He has run into so many buzzsaws, and it's you got to be lucky and good. In my opinion, he's got the good part covered. He's just got to get a little bit of luck on his side. It'll be epic when it happens.
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna have a party.
Good
Carly,
stuff.
thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Carly,
Thanks for having me.
you've been on for like an hour and 45 minutes. You might get the Pete Award for endurance during a broadcast.
Well, it's climbing those stairs every morning.
There you go. The only one that's been on the show that gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go work out, then teach second graders.
And then I normally have 20 other things to do after work.
What's
Like
do either of you watch The Office?
Mm-mm.
My son
No.
does, I don't.
I don't have time to
yeah.
watch TV.
I'm going to watch the soap opera.
I try. I like binge watch you, and that's about my stuff for the year. Like you,
Listen,
don't watch it. It's creepy.
I'm gonna take that as a huge compliment.
No, like you, like the TV show on Netflix. It's insane.
She faked us out there for a minute.
It's insane.
so
I say
excited.
that all the time. My mom's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Show
Well,
on Netflix."
So, but seriously, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us. I hope you had a good time because I know we did. And
Thank you.
more power to you, girl, for teaching second graders. There we go. You can teach a 52-year-old how to say it, but
And
It's just
best of
gotta
luck to
make
you.
it to spring break now. 54 days, no days off other than weekends. This is the worst part. You can vouch for me here.
Yeah, painful.
March is the
And-
worst.
in about roughly 6 or 7 weeks until Division I kicks off in ATCO for the open stuff. And the open, then the divisional, and then the open at Lebanon
Charlotte.
Valley.
And Charlotte's that week after the divisional at ACO. That's where
Cool.
we're going.
Good races.
Well, good luck. And obviously we'll be looking to do some winter interviews this year. No pressure.
That's the goal. Hopefully I can get a little bit of luck. Like you were saying, I'm not the luckiest person. I had one red light against me all year. But
Yeah,
I'm a big believer in preparation over luck anyway. So
Right.
if you're prepared for the worst case scenario, luck really doesn't mean too much anyway. So
love it.
well,
Good
thanks
stuff.
for having me, guys.
of
Hopefully
luck.
I'll
You're welcome,
this
Carly.
year.
Thank you again. I really appreciate it, all your time. It was awesome.
have a great night.
All right, you too. Bye-bye
Take
now.
care.
Bye.
All right, yes, like I said, next week, Jason Lawrence is going to be joining us. And then, let's see, on the 7th of March, Madison Payne is going to be on with us as well. On the 14th of March, TJ Zizzo is going to be our guest as well.
Very cool.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Pete, go watch your soap opera. Get ready to go tonight because you got like 25 minutes before you'll be asleep. So.
I would be surprised if I made it that far.
All right, so just so everybody's clear, I got my Wally.
There it is. You got your trophy
I got all of them. See,
for participating in the conversation. Perfect.
my participation trophy.
Have a
All
good
right,
night,
we'll
buddy.
see you all next week.
See you soon.
All right, take care, Pete.
Take care.
Talk to you soon. All right, everybody, have a great night. If you are racing this coming weekend anywhere in this beautiful country of ours, stay safe, have fun, go wheels up. See ya.